I have a list of questions I want to ask everybody, and I just want to hear everybody's honest opinion. So, since you graced us with your presence, I'm hoping that maybe you can be here as just Rhys the person and not Rhys from ECOMI, because I don't want to pepper you with questions specifically about that. And I'd love to just pick your brain about whatever we are talking about at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to join as Rhys the person. And then we might open it up. It's probably short notice because I haven't put an announcement out, but I really want to make these clubhouses a weekly event as well, the same as we did last week, so that people can pepper me with questions. Obviously, we've had this week. So maybe we'll open it this afternoon. Maybe we'll do something same time tomorrow or on the weekend so more people can make it. But we'll definitely start making that a feature moving forward too. But very happy to be here.
Yeah, originally we were going to do this as my trial and judgment for having too many DeLoreans, apparently.
Great.
We could have made you the judge.
Some of those memes have been killing me, man. They're so good.
The one by Shaq, I told him, oh yeah, just make a meme, and he comes out with an entire MV. I was just couldn't stop laughing.
I think we need to open a job for a meme lord for Shaq.
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely rolling. We definitely have some meme lords in the community for sure.
Dude, that Supergirl ream is to die for.
That got me, man.
That was great.
Yeah, I like that Dan got to be Superman and I got Supergirl, but that's fine. You like the ream title that I started giving these things?
I do. I think that's very clever. I love it.
Perfect. All right. Well, who's leading the discussion, guys? What do you got on the table for today?
Well, we do have some questions, not specifically directed at you, but I think we kind of compiled a little bit of questions just to kind of discuss. I think amongst the chat here.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thanks for joining us, everybody. We're gonna get this thing started as everybody's saying. I'm Chef Dizzy. I'm gonna be the moderator tonight. I'm gonna do my best not to speak very much and just trying to keep the conversation flowing. We have Kyle Crypto joining us. Hello.
We lost you.
We got Mike from VeVe Wiki. Of course, we're honored and blessed to have Rhys here, Granola, my friend VeVe King. Yeah. So the very first question I want to ask you guys are, what are your reactions on the Ethereum chain announcement, and what do you think are the broader implications of that? Was anybody as shocked as I was?
Yeah, absolutely. My knee-jerk reaction was, oh no, Ethereum, gas fees and stuff. But the deeper that I looked into it and discovered all the benefits from it, it's all go for me.
Yeah, I remember Dan, the COO, he was talking about layer 2 solutions. So, me being me, I just basically started looking up at every single potential layer 2 solution there and which ones relate to NFTs. So I knew it was going to be something either related to, Immutable X or, Polygon could have been one. But yeah, I know that the reason why they went with GoChain in the first place was to do with the transactions and scalability. So it had to be kind of one of the few that were there.
Did anyone go as far as looking into Starkware, the ZK rollups? Do you guys understand that side of the technology, or does that get a bit too deep?
I would like to hear a little bit more about that. I was reading a little bit about it, and I got out of crypto for a little while and missed out on all the kind of layer 2 wave. So yeah, I would definitely like to learn more about that, especially when it pertains to that.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just give you my general understanding of what I've pieced together here. So I think, as you just said, a lot of people seem to think that Ethereum is something to be scared of because of the gas fees and that kind of thing. But the current chain, the layer 1 chain, is the security of the network, right? And then you have side chains which operate their own validator sets. They might have 21 nodes or something. And that's actually kind of how Polygon or Matic operates, right? But because they've decided to integrate with Ethereum and support the network instead of try to run against it, like a Binance chain, they're very much supported in the ecosystem. A layer 2 runs, it's secured by the base chain, right? So it's different to how a side chain runs, but it basically runs its own network on the second layer and then commits to the main chain as we go. Hang on, I'm just going to close Telegram here. Sorry, guys. So it's then up to, say, Immutable, for example, to send a block or commit transactions once a week or once a day or whatever it is to maintain that ledger on the base chain. But because it's on its own infrastructure now on layer 2, you get these gasless, feeless kind of transactions. Now that is enabled by a technology called ZK snarks or ZK proofs, which is zero knowledge proofs, which to my understanding basically means that you can prove the identity and the transactions of A to B without needing all of the powerful computational power that the miners currently use on the base layer chain. So it makes these transactions, instant, near gasless or whatever, depending on what's being sent around. And there's a few apps that already run on layer 2. So Immutable is the first purpose-built layer 2 for NFTs, but you also have Loopring, which is a layer 2 exchange. You also have DYDX, which is layer 2 derivatives now as well. And at the moment, there's a bit of a transition, right? You have to pay a gas fee to get from layer 1 to layer 2 for Loopring and DYDX. They're the only ones that I've used so far. But once you're there, everything lives on layer 2, and you go back to almost like the early days of Ethereum, where transactions were, almost free and moved around instantly. So the whole idea is that layer 1 will always kind of provide the base chain security to layer 2, but eventually all apps and Ethereum-based apps and exchanges and all those things are going to move to layer 2. That's where the user experience will exist, and all of those apps will be responsible for committing to the base layer chain to maintain that ledger or that record. So yeah, these are the earliest iterations of ZK snarks, ZK proofs. Optimistic rollups is another scaling technology. And I think that most people that have been scared away from Ethereum because of gas prices, as you said, they're not really up to date with how far along Ethereum scaling actually has come. And in July, they roll out the London hard fork, if it all goes to plan. And I think that includes the first levels of optimistic rollups for scaling. So the whole network itself will scale, and then individual projects will start to move to layer 2 and provide that instant feeless transaction. So did that help at all?
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think I might just take a moment to plug Ethereum here, because it's truly one of the most amazing technologies that exist, and they're the way that they're programming their money, with that same hard fork in July, they introduced EIP 1559, where they actually start to burn a lot of the transaction fees that are taking place. So even though the gas will always be expensive on layer 1 now, because there's so much built on top of it. But over time, that will continuously be burning Ethereum permanently, from circulation. So the actual ETH supply rate will start to deflate. And then by the end of this year, maybe Q1 next year, they do the merge between ETH1 and ETH2. Right? So ETH2 is already running. It's a proof of stake chain, similar to Cardano or whatever. I think there's 5 million ETH staked over there now. And eventually the devs, the whole network, will transition where they merge the proof of stake with the proof of work chain. And at that point, you don't have miners anymore, you have validators. So new ETH issuance gets cut from 5 ETH per block to half an ETH per block. So to put that in perspective, everybody gets excited about the Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years. For Ethereum, this is like a triple halving. So they'll triple halve the new supply rate, and they're burning the fees so that the total Ethereum supply becomes deflationary. And they're scaling the network, So in the next 12 months, I really think Ethereum continues to cement its place as the leader in this space. So it's, for us, the move there, other than being much more functional and beneficial to us in the ecosystem, from my opinion, I just think ETH has already kind of won the race as that layer protocol. So it's going to bring many more eyeballs to the project as well. Obviously, much more it validates us as part of the NFT industry too, because most NFTs are still on Ethereum. So it's a really good move in my opinion.
Rhys, let me hit you with a follow-up question. Does this mean that the centralized nature of VeVe is going to vanish? Like, for example, the ability to return stolen collectibles or scammed collectibles.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, it really depends on what the situation is, right? Because when everything is in VeVe, it will be managed by us still, presumably, because we've got to accommodate for the mainstream, right? So it's still better to be able to just link your name and password to a wallet or that kind of thing. Now, for people who know what crypto is, they'll have the option. If you want to send them off the app and store them elsewhere, that's fine. But obviously, at that point, it becomes your responsibility to maintain and manage the protection of those assets. Yeah, I'll have to find out more about that as to what happens when it's in or out of the app. I think maybe you can just toggle it on and off so that you control your keys in the app too, or at least control the governance of your digital assets, because you would need some sort of control like that to be able to send them out anyway. You can't just send them out from your username. But yeah, I think that's probably something that we will have to consider. The good thing is that now that 2FA is in and all that stuff, there hasn't been any sort of, it just adds that layer of security that we hoped it would, so that, if someone has your email and password, they still can't get into your accounts.
Awesome, thank you. Mark, Mike, what are your thoughts on the
What's up, guys? I finally got push to talk working, which I'm very happy about. Thanks for having me again.
Praise VeVe?
Yeah, no, I'm just excited for the move forward. It's it's positive technology wise. Immutable seems great. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on all that stuff, but I know there's a lot more. Probably a lot more flexibility for the VeVe squad, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited to hopefully one day be able to move them around and use our collectibles different places and all that stuff. So hopefully this will be the path for that.
Hey guys, sorry I joined late. Hey Rhys, thanks for accepting the invite. My builder rocked up just as it started, so I missed the start of the conversation, but you might have answered already. A lot of people are asking you about the move over to Immutable, and will there be charges for us? How will you get your GoChain tokens NFTs onto ERC 721? Yeah, I don't know if that's been already asked. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So the migration of VeVe, the platform, and all of the collectibles, because they are all in our control at the moment, we will do, right? So no individual needs to move their account or their collectibles or anything like that. I'm sure it gets way more technical, but in my mind, we pretty much just pick up VeVe from GoChain and plonk it on Immutable. And I think there's probably some confusion that people think we're going to operate on both chains. We're not. We're moving chain. It will be a chain swap to move across. Now, where the user input will come is if you hold OMI tokens, because they will be moving from GoChain and Go20 to become an ERC20 token on Ethereum. Now, even that, a chain swap is pretty standard in crypto these days. There's obviously a lot of lead time and prep time, but a lot of exchanges will facilitate that now. So you'll send in your Go20 tokens and they will issue you the new ERC, the Ethereum-based one to an exchange wallet, and it's done. I imagine we will also set up a swap site similar to the wrapping OMI site, where you would send in your tokens, they would be burnt presumably, and mint you the new ones on the Ethereum side. And then you're good to go. You can use any ERC20 wallet, which is every wallet, to store your tokens, and it would be pretty good. Now, I'll say this now, and I will say it probably every single week until it happens. There will undoubtedly be scam sites that pop up. Right? There's still
For sure. Yeah.
VeVe scam sites. There's all of these things. So please, whenever this happens, only use our resources. Use the legitimate websites. Click through our stuff. Don't go just Googling it and click the first thing that pops up, because that's how people get caught out with these things. But when the migration happens, and look, it's not happening this week. That was just the announcement. We will put out literally weeks and months worth of information, weekly videos. I'll put it out there as much and as possible as we can, just so that everybody is aware of how it is taking place and how they can do it. Another question I've had recently, how long will we have to do it? And plenty of time. We know that a lot of people aren't as plugged into the ecosystem as we are every day. So it's not like there's going to be 1 week where if you don't swap, you lose. So that will be open probably for 12 months or something like that, just so that everybody has time to move their stuff across.
Interesting, thanks. So it will be a combination maybe of the exchanges and a swap site. Shout out to Cavell because he said that, and I wasn't aware of the exchanges helping in that process. But Rhys, there will be some form of gas involved in this at some stage, right? So who's going to cover that?
Yeah, so it will depend on how it's all run more than anything. So from GoChain to the exchange or into the swap site, as we all know, GoChain is very minimal. I'll have to find out the tech side. I'm assuming it's the exchange doing it, they'll facilitate it, or we give them a pool, I guess, to pull from. If it's a swap site, there might be a minting, like you might need gas to mint on the other side, but I'm actually not 100% sure on that. Once you're on Ethereum, if we can transition from that straight to layer 2, which I think is the case with Immutable, because they help with more than just NFTs, well, then the gas will be probably the same as what it would cost you on GoChain. It would be fractions of a cent or pretty minimal as an expense.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, because I did a bit of research last night, and if it's on Immutable, there's basically no gas fees. But I think it's then if we want to take it off Immutable at some stage, there will be some sort of fee there if we wanted to move it, I don't know, off platform or into somewhere else like a rare room or something like that, I guess.
Yeah, you're talking about the collectibles themselves, right? Not the OMI token?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, eventually everything moves to layer 2. All of these apps move to layer 2, and so everything becomes this kind of gasless, feeless, transactional ecosystem. Where it would cost you, right now, if you want to move from layer 1 to layer 2 for an exchange or something, you pay a gas fee to move your tokens to layer 2, and once you're there, it's pretty well free to move around. It would depend as to where you are moving your collectibles. If you wanted to move them back to layer 1 for some reason, but there won't really be a need to in the next few months, right? OpenSea and those marketplaces will all open layer 2 capabilities as well. Arbitrum is another one integrating layer 2. I think they're due to launch in the next couple of weeks as an exchange infrastructure. So, before long, and realistically, probably by the time the migration has fully taken place, I don't think there's going to be a need to send your collectibles back to layer 1 for any particular reason. Anything
for sure. Yeah, that's what Vitalik said, wasn't he? He was like, pretty much, the whole Ethereum ecosystem will likely be on rollups, which that's what Immutable is.
Correct.
In the near to midterm future.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think that happens sooner than many people think. And fundamentally, like, projects that don't move to layer 2 are going to fall behind. So it's in everybody's best interest to make that transition as well.
It'll be interesting when ETH 2 comes, but supposedly that's not going to happen for years. So
no, yeah. So I touched on this earlier, and I'll touch on it again. ETH 2 is already live. It's already running. It's been live since December last year, the proof of stake chain. And then it's slated, they're saying the end of this year, but let's say by March next year, just to be a bit more conservative, the merge will happen. So that happens between ETH 1 and ETH 2. But I think a lot of people are confusing that with ETH scaling, because ETH is scaling in the next few months, right? So coming with the London hard fork in July, they start to roll out some of their optimism upgrades, which will help the whole network scale in the meantime. It's not like they've just left ETH 1 behind to try and work towards ETH 2. They're still scaling and building ETH 1 in the meantime before the merge happens. And then when the merge happens, the main transition is that you're just removing the miners. So then the whole network becomes much more energy efficient. Stakers obviously get paid out for validating, that kind of thing. But in the short term and in the meantime, ETH will continue to scale along with everything else. And that's why all these projects are moving to layer 2. So if you, I don't know if you guys have ever played Gods Unchained on Immutable.
No,
I have not, but I was looking at their website and it looked really fun, and I like the idea that you can earn cards. And just the kind of video I saw on their main website, I thought it looked actually very fun, and kind of envisioned maybe something that hopefully would like to see on VeVe as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting development. I haven't really thought about it down that line, but the point I was going to make was, I played Gods Unchained 2.5 years ago, before ETH got like crazy congested. It was probably in the bear market, and it worked really well, right? And as an on-chain game, which I think that a lot of people don't quite comprehend what is taking place there for every move you make or every card you own and all those things. You're not just owning the assets, it's committing that information to and from the chain constantly and that kind of thing, right? Or maybe the game operates offline, but the assets do. But regardless, it got to a point where you wanted to buy a card worth $3 or $4, but it would cost you $15 or $20 in gas, so it just became unusable for that kind of thing. And the same as what most people have seen for gas on the base layer chain. And that's where Immutable X started, right? Originally Gods Unchained and the guys that built it, they were the only ones that figured out how to maximize the block space on layer one, which allowed the game to run a few years ago. And then even they got stopped out by the congestion. And that's how they went about building layer two and the necessity for it, so that this game could run efficiently. So they haven't just kind of moved to layer two, they've innovated to get there. And now their game, I think they can do 9,000 trades per second or something like that. And that's assets moving between owners too, right? Not just ETH or not just a token moving. It's an actual, register of ownership that's happening at that speed, which is pretty incredible as well.
So what you're saying is we'll have our minty collectibles on the drop, like, within 30 seconds? I'm just joking.
That's a good question, actually. That's probably more of a technical question. And that depends on our tech stack, I think, more so than the speed of the underlying chain. But yeah, I'll have to find that out closer to migration.
All right. I'm getting a lot of questions in my DMs. Basically, people are really curious if there's any plans to deal with botters and scripters for tomorrow's drop. I know you guys talk about this almost every drop, but maybe you could give us a little information.
Yeah, I can't give you too much information because otherwise we give away the ways we're dealing with it. But Dan did mention it recently that there are new implementations there to try and cut those things out. So yeah, I guess we'll find out if it works.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I got another question from the crowd. They're just curious, who makes the final mint number decisions?
Dan and David have very friendly and candid discussions about it on a weekly basis. Yeah, it's up to them, right? It obviously they take a bit of lead from the licensors as to, I think Dan mentioned this last week in our clubhouse, which ones are the more popular ones and that kind of thing. But yeah, it comes down to popularity. It comes down to what they kind of give us. It comes down to David's knowledge of the industry. Yeah, a whole range of things, I think. But they're the guys that make the final decision for sure.
All right, this one's just I guess more of a fun question. How many sets do you have, Rhys? And can we do we know your handle? Is that or is that top secret?
Top secret. No, I haven't given it out at the moment. Not for any particular reason, really. I don't know if it's just a thing. It's got my face on it, so if you ever see me posting something, you'll know. How many sets? Maybe. What have I got? 8 full sets. There you go.
That's pretty good. That's more than me. I got 7 right now. So.
Yeah, when we were first dropping things, I was same as most people, super excited and picking things up. But like, I'm at a point now where I'm going to collect the things that I actually like and want. Not just because something's dropping. Because I'm not buying these things trying to flip them or resell them, at least not for a couple of years anyway. So I'm much more inclined to buy the things that I actually want to play with, instead of just like, I'm going to buy everything because it's dropping,
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. So, the strategies are kind of out the window for me. I think I'm just gonna move forward, and my next big drop I'm looking forward to is the drivable T-Rex. But no, but yeah, that just T-Rex.
I did see a pretty good meme earlier, actually. A little toy car T-Rex.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, they've converted the toy car T-Rex with Trevor's face on it into what's it called? Like a bot option inside the OMI channel. So if you do !dev Trev, it like pops up.
True.
If you just do !dev Trev in the OMI channel, you see something cool.
How good.
We know Rhys is playing coy a little bit. He's got some fire up in that account we talked about on the Clubhouse chat a couple weeks ago. I'll let you keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I don't want people to find out where I live so they don't steal my collectibles.
So are we kind of converting you a little bit, Rhys, to maybe off Telegram to maybe Discord?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My life's goal is to move from Telegram. It's just no. I have been running a catering business for the last 5 years, of which I am the only person in the business. So for the last 5 months, I cook for 30 people a day, 4 days a week, which I officially said goodbye to yesterday. So I've been doing that in amongst all of this. And now I have 30 or 40 hours a week back in my life. So I will spend much more time in Discord and taking care of the house in Telegram, because it's about time some of that got cleaned up too.
Well, congrats. Yeah, Rhys.
What kind of dishes were your specialty for cooking?
Well, thankfully, I was cooking for school camps for this contract. So they're 15, 16-year-old kids, and they don't care what they eat as long as there's lots of it. So that one was pretty easy. But if I was cooking for myself, I do a lot of seafood. I love a good lamb rack with some red wine jus. But I change what I eat depending on the seasons. When it's coming into winter here, and I do a lot more hearty meals, a lot more soups and things like that. Summertime in Australia, like the produce here is just incredible all the time. So I just cook with whatever's in season and throw things together on that front.
Real quick too, just to piggyback off of that, do you what do you do in your extracurricular activities? Do you do you surf? Do you what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of it lately, but yeah, I surf. Where I live at the moment in Australia is pretty much on the beach, so I will try to get back to that in the next little bit. I train as well. I'm in the gym most days of the week, or 4 or 5 days of the week, trying to stay healthy and really just take a little break from the screen. But I really need to stop taking my phone with me because it's pretty hard to escape from. I learned to fly when I lived in Canada a few years ago, so I've got my pilot license as well. I'd love to say that I do that more often, but lately it hasn't been a thing in my life. So I'm hoping to get back to a bit of that as well. I read a lot too, a few different hobbies, and then I talk to you guys.
Well, that's probably the best part, hopefully, is talking to us. But yeah, what types of books do you read, just out of curiosity?
I do a lot of fantasy trilogies and long books. I don't like getting attached to characters and then the book ending after 400 pages. So I'm usually more likely to commit to a trilogy. I love the world building and the characterization that comes with it, and all that sort of emotional attachment that you build into these books as well. So yeah, that's usually the alley I go up. I try to change it up sometimes, and then it just doesn't hold my interest as much.
Yeah, I would say I agree on that, and I kind of use that same ideology in my binge watching on Netflix or wherever I binge. I can't do one season. It has to be 3 or 4 seasons queued up for me.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't even watch TV anymore. It doesn't. At least the last few months, I'm too erratic. There's too much going on with ECOMI and VeVe that if I sit down for 5 minutes, to try and watch a show, I'd feel guilty about it. I'm like, I guess I'll go do this work instead, or something else. So yeah, hopefully in the next few months I can find a bit more Zen time. But it's usually a bit of reading before I fall asleep, and that's what gets me.
Very nice. We were talking, a couple of the guys, and you were talking about how many sets you have and stuff. I'm not looking for any kind of details, but for some reason it feels like the Master Collectors program is kind of imminent. I don't know if you have any insight on, maybe we'll see it in June, maybe we'll hear some details. And a second part of that is there was a hint by you guys that Slimer, Ito, and the Ghost Trap will probably be for Master Collectors. I don't know if you had any insight on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so on the second part, I think people have misread that, and maybe I'll go back and rewrite it. That was just me being conversational. No, those 3 collectibles will drop sometime in season 2, but they're for everybody to try and get a hold of. They're definitely not just secured for master collectors.
Gotcha.
And I wouldn't go as far as saying the master collector is imminent. I think that we're probably still a few months off that actually rolling out. So don't hold your breath too much on that front. Obviously, it's being built, and you guys would have seen in last week's weekly wrap up that in the last month we've welcomed 5 or 6 new devs, and they're coming up to speed now. So we actually have some capacity to start to roll out these new developments with all the optimizations behind us now, or close enough to being behind us. So everything like that is back on the table. The accessories should roll out sooner than later in the showrooms. I know Trevor's been busy redesigning the way that they function as well, just to make them look so much more amazing, because as we all know, they're just kind of a box floating in the sky at the moment. Yeah, so we'll start to see a lot more app features roll out just to make the experience more enjoyable. But yeah, I think the Master Collector's still a little ways off yet.
Nice. Thank you for your candor as always. Appreciate that. When you say accessories, what accessories do you mean? I might, maybe I'm missing something there. What accessories are going to come?
So right now in your showroom, you can place your collectibles where you want, scale them up, those kind of things. But we want you to be able to show them off and get creative as you choose to, right? So we're talking like different bases and stands and plinths, shelving that will be available, so you can start to really customize the space instead of it just kind of being 4 walls. Now, before long, there will be branded accessories as well. I think it's in one of our early demo videos. I know you'll see the shelving there, and I've seen it on David Yu's Instagram, but there will be branded things like for the DeLorean, you can actually buy or collect the curbside scene, so you can park your DeLorean up on the curb, and it has kind of like little trees or house or things like that. So depending on the license and the brand, there'll be accessories that you can use to customize your showroom that might be, they might pertain to that brand itself, or they'll be your standard kind of bases and plinths. Eventually you'll be able to add pot plants and couches and maybe a TV screen to your showroom, and that will show your, like if we do something like moments or something like that. So you can explore someone's showroom. This is down the line, by the way. This isn't next week, but you might walk into someone's showroom and be able to sit on their couch and see the collectibles they own kind of flash through a screen or something like that within your showrooms too. So that's kind of where that takes us, right? Because the whole idea of the showroom, other than showing off your collections, is to allow you to build and customize your very own digital space. So we want to try and facilitate that with as many amazing features as we can.
Very, very cool. And one last one. Are those paid accessories, or are they can just be like accessories you can kind of choose from out of a list?
I think they'll be paid. There might be other ways to get them, but I will have to find out. Now, when we're talking, it's not like you're going to be buying them like they are collectibles. Like there might be like 250,000 stands or plinths or shelves or something like that. So if they are paid, they'll be very reasonably priced. But I'll have to confirm that. I'm pretty sure they'll be paid.
No doubt. Thank you very much, Rhys. I appreciate it. I'm going to pass the mic to somebody else if they have a question for you.
Yeah, no problem. And also, guys, continue your discussion. I know you started this not wanting to pepper me with questions. So if you want to have at it,
I just didn't want to impose. I'm really enjoying this, and as long as you're willing to keep answering direct questions, I love it. This is even better.
Okay. Yeah, sweet. Let's do it. Yeah, it saves me doing it later today anyway.
So did you get a Mike Mignola Batman?
I didn't, but it is one that I've been considering the last few days. I think I'll get up for the drop tonight. There's a couple of collectibles that I wouldn't mind picking up. I do love getting first appearance stuff as well. But no, I haven't got Dad Bod Batman. Have you guys got it?
Yeah. So I was trying to snipe a good one, and I think I placed a bid by accident, but that's okay. Because I think long term, I think that Batman specifically, will go up in value. So I'm not too worried about that one.
Yeah, it's also it was one of the best-selling physical statues out of the Batman Black and White line. I don't know if it's for the same reasons that we all want Dad Bod Batman, but it's I find that interesting too. That it ended up being kind of one of the more successful models. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that in the physical.
It's right now I think it's important to remember that we really haven't accessed the fan bases of a lot of these things. Obviously, we all come in from however we found the project, and we are fans of certain brands and collectibles. But if you're saying that this particular physical sculpture was one of the most popular, well, there's going to be a lot of Batman fans out there that are aware of it that probably don't own the physical version. And this can be their chance to express that fandom by collecting one of these things. So, yeah. And of course, you add to that it's ultra rare and all those kind of things. And it has the meme value, right? Which memes just drive the internet.
100%.
So there's a lot of considerations there. Now that you're saying that, I'm literally going through the market. Maybe I'll pick one up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do expect that long term, just with the obviously the meme economy, but like you're saying, just the collector perspective, and once we really tap into that, I really think those are going to be scooped up, long term. So just like you were saying, I plan on holding these collectibles for many years, and just collecting brands I know and love. So
yeah, absolutely. And we've said this many times. Once that mentality changes, and I think it's starting to change now, around maybe just collecting the things you want, it spreads the load out a little bit. A lot of people think that we've somehow failed because we want collectibles to be in the store, but if you walked into a hobby shop or something and the shelves were just bare every time you walked in there, you'd stop going in there. So the whole idea is that we want items available in the store so that when we do announce these licenses and brands and new people come and download the app and check it out, well, yeah, there's something there that they can actually buy and then explore the AR and explore the showrooms, because that fundamentally is what keeps you coming back to the app too, right? It's the experience, not just the ownership. So yeah, I think what we saw last week, we've tweaked the numbers again this week, just a little bit, but same deal. There will be purchase limits on everything. The commons and uncommons are usually the ones that will be the ones that have higher edition numbers, with the intention that there's actually some content available for new users. So.
Hey, Rhys. A question that comes up quite a bit is when we do bring out OMI to gem option, with regards to the free Fortnite issue, what happened there, where Fortnite let their users buy basically their coin outside the app. There's the law case now in Australia, our little country, with Google and Apple about it. So there's a concern that there's going to be something, potential issues there when you guys do that. Has that been brought up? Is there any sort of words you can give about that?
Yeah, very valid concern. The Apple overlords don't like missing their cut on anything. So it's definitely something that is under review at the moment. We're building out the web platform, which will, I guess, similar to Fortnite, help us kind of get around that. Because once it's there is no risk of deplatforming or anything, right? That's our own thing. And I think that's actually closer than many of us would expect. I think maybe end of next month. Let's say the one after,
Wow.
just to be safe. We're talking the very first iteration of that, right? It might not have the feed, it might not be fully featured, but at least it kind of takes a bit of the pressure off if there's that availability, and that opens us up to probably twice the size of our current audience, because there's a lot of people that can't access it, or depending on their phones and all those things. So I think that's a really good a good thing that's in the works for us. So yeah, it's definitely something we're aware of. It's also, we're reviewing the whole system to try and figure out the best balance between those things. Obviously, returning the utility to the token is our number one priority at the moment, but it is a consideration that we have been discussing many, many times internally, and trying to figure out the best way to bring that forward so that everybody can use their tokens again.
Just on that point, I just wanted to ask. So I know you guys have quite a large team, including advisors. With regards to the whole kind of legal issue around Apple and the App Store fees, is there someone specifically on your team, in terms of someone who's experienced in this area? Is there someone advising you on how to proceed? Just because it would be quite interesting to kind of, I guess, learn a little bit more about your kind of non-community facing team.
Yeah. I don't know if it's one of the advisors specifically. They all sort of operate in their own realms of technology and things, and I don't know that any of those are specific to an app store and the way they function. But we have a whole legal team that we've always had from the start. So anything that we do or put out, or any moves we make on that front, obviously go through all of that sort of due diligence before it happens, which is also why some of these things take longer than expected. And we're not our licensors aren't the only ones doing their due diligence. We have to do it on every move we make. So yeah, I think those things come through from them. I think we have like assigned case managers from Apple and Google now anyway, because of the success of the app so far. So we are in direct contact with people on those fronts that can help us to kind of build this system in. But yeah, you kind of have to play. You have to play to their rules, basically. Android doesn't care at all, right? Like, you can do anything on Android. There's no real crazy oversight. It's more when it comes to the Apple App Store that the issues arise. So we just don't want to get to a situation where we're rolling out features on Android and not on Apple, because we don't want to cut out that market sector, and it's not fair to say to people, well, go get an Android phone. Like that's something we're avidly trying to avoid as well. And as I just said, the web platform will really help to service those needs too. So.
Rhys, they blocked Fortnite on Android as well. I believe it's against Android too. So
yeah, oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I haven't really kept up to date. Hey, I'm just seeing, is this chat capped at 99 members or something, guys? Is there a way to let more people in?
I was actually wondering if it had something to do with the Nitro boost, maybe.
Is that something I can do? I have no idea what that is.
I'm not really sure. It appears to be some kind of technical error, but I'm trying really hard to fix it. I don't really know what to do, though.
Yeah, I went and dove into the options already, and I couldn't find anything where there's a limit for people or anything like that.
Yeah, me as well. Usually it's not capped, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is a technical error. I think, yeah, we are having someone have an issue as well getting in. So
Brock just posted something. Hang on one sec. Let me see.
also, I am recording, so just a little forewarning. But just for people that also might miss it, I'll be posting it probably on YouTube.
It says here 99 people can enter, but it can be increased to 120. I've just found an official Discord support on it.
We've had it up to Chef. We've had it up quite a bit to like what, almost 200.
In the high 300s when Dan and Rhys were on last week.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, give me 2 minutes. Someone's saying to post. What is this? Clubhouse count 999, something like that. Anyone know what that is?
I do not. I think there might just be referring to this room here.
Okay. All right. No worries.
Who created the clubhouse for this evening?
I think it might have been Chef, but it may have been created already. It maybe just be a setting is what I'm thinking, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Because that may be an issue. If none of us created the actual clubhouse, then we probably don't have access to those settings.
I believe it's just it's always there, and you sort of just open it up. So yeah, maybe one of the server owners or admins need to do something.
Yeah, I don't know if that's me or not. I think that might be a Dan or a Davion's thing, but that's all right. If it's being recorded, it'll go out later anyway. Sorry to anyone who can't get in at the moment. Big apologies.
May I ask a question about the Master Collector?
I'll allow it.
Okay, sweet. So this is just a question that I've had asked by my followers because I've voiced how I believe that the cloaked items may be in relation to the Master Collector, but Chef Dizzy just touched on that and you answered that this isn't the case. In the future, will sets potentially have influence on the Master Collector? Like, will there be specific collectibles which are relative to completed sets, like for that brand?
You mean, will you have to be a specific Master Collector to get like the fourth one of a set or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So instead of just being only just the sets, because there are some people who will just buy every set, but like there'll be people who are fans of like DC or Harlequin, and they might be a Master Collector in their own realm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it will run in a manner that cuts people out from specific collectibles. But being completing your sets on the way obviously gains you XP points, for lack of a better term, which levels up your Master Collector ranking. And then there will be some things that Master Collectors in general, some advantages like maybe 10-second early access to a drop or something like that. But it also lets us see if you are a Batman Master Collector, right? Or you're obviously a massive Batman fan. Then we can reward you with maybe early access to the Batman drops instead of to all drops, or specific accessories for your showroom or things like that. Might also mean at location-based events, if you're a Master Collector, there might be some benefits there. Maybe you can access the gold foil version of something instead of the silver or something like that. But I don't think it will be in a manner that only lets those collectors complete a set, if that makes sense.
Okay, thanks for answering. I do have a concern about early access for Master Collectors, since 10 seconds early, and if there's quite a few Master Collectors, I could see a set selling out to the Master Collectors only. Will you slowly trickle in people who aren't from Master Collector?
It would be more, you might get 10-second early access, but you can only buy one of each collectible or something like that. Like there would be a cap on that limit. So it's not, massively creating an unfair advantage for those Master Collectors, but that's just one example of how we might go about rewarding those Master Collectors. There will obviously be plenty of other things built into it as well. So yeah, it wouldn't just be like, all the Master Collectors get to buy everything and nobody else gets to buy anything, but there has to be some incentive there as well to want to level up your collector ranking, and obviously with these collectibles having whatever value they stand to have, like that's a pretty good incentive.
I had a thought regarding the points that were supposedly associated with the Master Collector, and I just wanted to kind of toss at you and see like what your thoughts were on it. My thoughts were like, what if, like, how we earn points in the gamification aspect of things and towards Master Collector points? What if we used those Master Collector points as like tokens to gain the early access? So you had to save those up And then if you want it in early on a Batman drop, then it's going to cost you like 100 Master Collector points or something like that. It was just a playful idea I had. But
Yeah. I quite like that. I do like that, and I mean that could be an iteration at some point.
Sorry, could I add to that?
Yeah, go.
It would be really cool if it was like a badge, and the badge was like an NFT that was visible in like augmented reality. I'm just thinking about into the future, and then you could sell that badge for a specific amount of money, and then people could use that badge in return to join these early access. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you sell the rights to someone else to have early access to a particular video thing.
And it's also viewed.
A big person could just buy their way into the Master Collector.
Yeah, you could buy your way in. You would also have to create it if it was an NFT. It can't just have the same utility for every person, right? Like, I guess the idea would be like, if it was a system where you spent your Master Collector points or you earned that badge and then you used it specifically, I would think that would be the one and only utility of that badge. Now, if you went through the process and earned it, and then you decided, well, I don't want that, whatever that's providing, and you chose to sell it, cool, and then the next person could use it for the same thing. But yeah, I think anything like that is probably quite a ways down the line before it becomes a real possibility in the app.
Right, and I think that we should, kind of remember that when people bring up the discussion about the Master Collector program, that it's quite a ways off, like you said, still, and nothing's concrete about it yet.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dan and Dave definitely have some concrete ideas, and they're
right.
But yeah, the first iterations, any badges and things will be more of a symbol, right? A bragging rights. I collected this set, or I have this many from season 1, or things like that. Obviously, everybody who has something from season 1 will get some sort of badge or indicator as well that you can wear around or add to your showrooms. I think you'll be able to use them like that, or show them off on your profile at the very least within the app. And then we'll continue to build it out, right? Because yeah, that's just an extra layer of fun that we can keep designing in. I really do like the idea of spending the collector points. I think that's cool. But it would come down to how you earned them in the first place as well.
There was
May I just add one more point? Sorry, could I just add one more point, please?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So I'm personally really excited about the Master Collector program. As it says, like in my name, VeVe Flipper, I started off flipping the collectibles. I started off with like $300 and worked my way up. Now I have quite a collection, and I'm heavily invested and actually love collecting now. And I sort of push that to my followers.
Yeah.
Master Collector, the idea of it and the concept and the way I've seen VeVe playing out, it's sort of taught me a lot about collectibles and how to collect, and inspired me and helped me meet a lot of people, and a lot of people who follow me. Like I've been voicing like just sort of playful thoughts about what the Master Collector could be, and it's actually inspired a lot of other people to collect. So I was just sort of touching on that. I do believe that like prestiges will definitely inspire people to be more active in staying on the platform rather than sort of just flipping the collectibles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and first of all, man, I'm so stoked to hear that that's the journey you've been on with VeVe. That's kind of what we hoped when we started building this, that it would inspire people. I see a lot of people now buying the physical counterparts to their digital collectibles. I think that's pretty incredible as well. But you're right, it is a prestige thing. Being a master collector is something to work towards. And we have to make that as equitable as possible, rather than just being, well, I've got a lot of money so I can buy a lot of collectibles and get there. Like you want it to be as open a system as possible and make it worthwhile for people once they level up those collector rankings, which is definitely part of the thinking behind it, and part of the motivation for getting something like that out there. So yeah, I'm super excited about it too. As you said, I think it will, it is literally an app retention thing, right? It keeps people coming back to the app if they see the value in it too. And if that value has some financial incentive at the end of it, obviously it's more motivating for more people as well. So it's
thank you very much for answering. Like pretty motivating getting to speak to you. I never thought I'd get to speak to you, and this sort of journey that I've made building my socials, I sort of always intended to be able to reach out and ask a few questions about the devs. So this has been great. Thank you. I'll let you guys continue on with the conversation.
No worries, man. You're so welcome. Thanks for all the kind words.
Rhys, I've got a question that kind of popped into my mind. Something that I spoke about a little while ago, and it kind of just remembered question itself, because there was that guy who sent myself and yourself a photo of himself sat on a toilet with the dad bod Batman. And yeah. Yeah, so so basically the question I had was, we know that the feed is like an integral part of kind of sharing your experiences with these collectibles with the community. Now I'm just wondering, like, from, I guess, the legal consultation perspective, obviously we don't want people abusing the feed, but you will get people who, you've described as bad actors. And, there was essentially an experiment done where someone, like, they basically made a text editor public so people could add their own pictures to it. And there was like pornography and all sorts of stuff being added. So with collectibles, if you can start adding pictures to the feed of, yourself with the collectibles in real life, that kind of thing, people start abusing that and post things that are inappropriate. Could that has that kind of been thought about? Could that affect the people who just want to use the feed for good intentions? Obviously the guy sat on the toilet with the dad bod Batman. He sent that like personally, and it's not that bad or anything, but there can be more explicit things.
That was probably the 10th Batman on a toilet photo that I've received. So it just makes me point.
How do I sign up for toilet bathroom?
Yeah, it's coming in Series 6, actually.
The fact that people are thinking about you, Rhys, while they're on the toilet playing
Yeah,
with Batman is disturbing.
I'll take it. That's fine. It's absolutely been thought of. Yeah, look, there is an age restriction on the app. I think it's 13 or something like that, or it was when we first launched. With that in mind, there are profanity filters already in the feed that help us cut down on some of those things. But to my knowledge, at least right now, yeah, we just have mods that are keeping a very close eye on these things and can pretty quickly close those things down. Now, off the app, yeah, people are going to take stupid photos. Some of them are going to be funny, but like obviously inappropriate. So yeah, at the moment, it's something that we're pretty hands-on with. I'm sure we'll continue to build in ways that can kind of detect anything inappropriate as we move forward. But as you said, we don't want that to ruin the experience for people. The beauty of this ecosystem is that like all of you guys have our best interests and the app's best interests in mind as well. So if anyone ever sees anything inappropriate, it gets to us pretty quickly. So it lets us kind of cut down on that as well, which is good. And then, we need to sort of rely on parents and things like that too, to not be, to kind of be monitoring these things if they're giving it to their kids and stuff as well. So I think it's going to collectively be a group effort, but it will be something that we'll build in as we go as well.
I think the excitement of that guy who
master collectors, or maybe people who have a certain amount of rank, could maybe also be like pseudo mods to like report stuff.
Yeah. And look, that might come to, the master collector thing might actually become something like that as well. If you've been in there for a while, if we know that you're you're there for the right reasons and to support it, then maybe we can give some powers like that to, almost like community mods, but in the app as well. That could be a potential development.
Hey, Crypto Khaki here. You guys mind if I jump in for a second? Okay, cool. So first off, Rhys, man, it's a pleasure, man. As someone who never collected outside of baseball cards and stuff, just to be a part and see and watch what y'all have going on, and this community is amazing. And the interactions between you guys and the community is bar none, setting the bar for all NFTs.
Thanks.
And so I look and I see in the chat and people that we can't stop showing people our collections and stuff like that. And from the corporate world to our friends and families, from females to girls to grown men, they're all interested in this app. And the thing that I find fascinating about it is how quickly they are drawn into the app. And we all know we got something special going on. I know you guys feel it. And it's a worldwide thing. This isn't it's not it's not limited to just one region. Everybody feels the same way about this app as we do, and equally as strong as we do. So going forward in the future, knowing that.
I think we lost you after knowing that.
Yeah, I'm on the edge here.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So with you guys knowing that, being that there's so many amazing people that are drawn into this community and into this collecting space, and it's not just a thing about finances. It's taking us back to childhoods, and everybody's waiting on the next licenses and all of that. So knowing that, could we expect, like I live in the United States, so in the United States we all have our own Independence Days and our own holidays, and then we have the
We lost you at holidays.
okay, sorry, would there be cultural drops for specific areas and regions and specific holidays, or is it kind of geared in the beginning as a whole mass thing and pull everybody together, and then later on start making it its own thing? Because I'm pretty sure that this is just going to go where the people kind of take it, like Trevor was speaking on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it will be the latter. At the moment, we're trying to reach the largest audiences we can in fan bases. But yeah, absolutely. We've talked about, we can do like some Halloween type drops or some Christmas drops or things like that, depending on what's available to us, obviously from the licensors, but maybe we can have different kind of themed accessories or things like that. Maybe around Christmas time, you can add some Christmas lights and trees and decorations to your showrooms and things like that too. So we can really make it a seasonable, a seasonable feature, I guess, is probably the best way to put that. So yeah, I think it's definitely on the cards. We've discussed it for sure, but it's not at the moment. We're trying to get the initial impact and attract the users, and then we'll branch into more specific things like that too.
Are some of the
for blind bag.
Are some of the features contingent on the being on the Mutable X? I know obviously maybe some of that is, but as far as maybe like gamification and things like that, is just like some of those features kind of contingent upon, being on that platform?
No, not necessarily. Being on Immutable allows you to use your collectibles to greater effect, right? You can use them on other marketplaces and anything that, if we're opening interoperability, anything using the same standard has the potential to integrate with our collectibles. The features and those kind of things are more a part of our tech stack and the way that we design the app and build things in, and then it sits on top of the chain. Am I back? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sweet. I don't know. My Discord just decided to close on me.
I think everybody's.
Yeah, that.
Getting deleted and re-added or something. It's like Thanos just snapped his fingers and half the Discord vanished.
Yeah, I'm getting that too.
It just happened to me again. Do we know what's going on here?
Not sure yet. Mine closed out a couple times. Hopefully it's stable now.
Okay, we'll blame the Discord gods on this one. I don't know where we got to there.
Yeah, they're really hating.
Yeah, yeah. No, those features. The point I was making was the features and things we're rolling out are more part of our back end design and tech stack, and then we sit on top of the chain. So yeah, that really just secures the assets more than influences the design of the features and capabilities.
In the recent past, we had scalability issues with the app, and we heard you guys mention before that you weren't quite confident that the app could handle a mass adoption, and marketing and promotion was being held off until your confidence, I guess, within the app's performance could handle that kind of thing. Where do you think we are sitting now in that scale of things?
Pretty good. Yeah, most of I'm sure you guys have noticed week on week the drops have just performed better and better. The devs aren't really taking the back end down very often these days, but whenever they do, the speed of the app in general seems to increase exponentially. I think some of our devs are just working full time on scaling now as well, and making sure that moving forward as we do adopt new users, that the app can keep up with that. So no, I mean, fundamentally we're in the best position we've been in this entire time, and I think that we are confident that the app will handle. We could probably double the user base comfortably from here. So, and then we'll, the scaling thing is an ongoing thing, right? It's not like we just got to this point now and now we've scaled up to accommodate 10 million users or something. That will continue to increase as we do. But thanks to all the refactoring and re-engineering of the app and all the systems, those updates are much easier to make now, so we can, scale out on the fly if we need to, and to, the app in its current iteration is just much more user friendly and much more optimized to handle larger user bases.
So with that being said, when do you think that we could start expecting to see promotional material and marketing stuff roll out?
Well, it's starting. It's definitely starting. So we put on Rand and Cohen. Well, we announced them at the start of May. So that's just been 4 weeks. Now their main job is they help us craft our press releases and things like that. And they obviously have all of the industry connections in all the different areas to start putting that media out. So that Ron English press release, we obviously just saw go out in a very specific collector's publication. So there'll be a few more of those. So each license and brand we announce now will be targeted at the audiences and fan bases that will actually care about it more than anything, and start to bring that in. And then we have a separate media company that will handle the more specific user acquisition. So Rand and Cohen handles putting our name out there and the awareness. The media company handles all the advertising, the pinpointing of lookalike audiences and specific users and onboarding and all of that thing. So the wheels are definitely turning at the moment, and we're definitely coming to that point. Couple more weeks and Rand and Cohen will have their gears in place as well. You would have seen, or maybe would have seen, I only just put it out, Dan was just in a panel with Kevin Smith from, most people might know him from Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, most of our heads exploded when we saw that.
Yeah, right. So that was put on by Octagon, who is actually the parent company of Rand and Cohen. And that's, so Dan got the spot there. So they're the kind of engagements and things we're going to start seeing. I know we have quite a lot of news spots and segments and things like that you'll see Dan's preface on as well in the next few months. So yeah, we're at that point now, right? This is the priority was always optimize the app and make sure that it can handle it. And now we can start having some fun.
So
Yeah,
guess that Silent Bob NFT is coming soon.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob.
I would be all about it, but no, there's no guarantees there yet. Hopefully they connect after that conference. Kevin was that was put on by Octagon, not by us, so I don't know what conversations have taken place there. But it would be cool.
It seems like he's kind of a collector. I saw him. I tuned into the latest Hasbro event recently, and he was on with Jay, the guy that plays Jay, and it was him and Jay, and they presented the Transformers, like crazy, collectible toy that like morphs into a Transformer at a push of a button. And anyways,
Yeah, Jay does a lot of unboxing videos now for his channel.
Oh, true. Yeah, I think they are absolutely ingratiated in the space. Kevin, I remember seeing something a year or two ago about him, because people know him from Jay and Silent Bob, but he obviously has a very illustrious career as a writer and a creator and all those things. And I think he's quite an avid collector. So yeah,
is that
I'm not
this little P and K relationship? Does that kind of open doors for you guys? You said connections, without revealing obviously any details. Obviously, is that present more opportunities for you guys, and kind of bringing in other brands, maybe even potentially certain names to the VeVe app?
Yep, absolutely it does. Yeah, any of those connections open opportunities for us. It also validates us, right? If people, if they're representing, if something comes across their desk or whatever, and they see that we're already working together, it gives, say, celebrities or whatever, a big vote of confidence in what's going on for us too, right? Because Rand and Cohen obviously don't just take on anybody as a client. Yeah, without revealing too much, yeah, absolutely, it opens opportunities.
Now, could you maybe speak a little bit to just reiterating that, I remember I think it was a week or two ago, you were saying that we've kind of, actually, I think it was on with the VeVe Wiki guy, Mike and Mark, and on their Clubhouse, you're saying that we've kind of cornered, VeVe has kind of cornered the market. And I've just been kind of seeing people talk about other kind of maybe apps or people. And do you still feel the same way, or could you you feel that we still have the market?
We've been using that quote every day. Go ahead, Rhys.
Yeah, absolutely, I do. I think, well, let's just talk about it. The last ones I've seen were Epic Prime, Epic GG. Anyone, have you guys seen people talking about that?
Is that one they were at Licensing International by chance, or is that the same?
It just popped up in Telegram the other day. People were saying, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah. Epic.gg. They're also on Immutable X as well. I noticed their name popped up, so I've been getting sent that. It's like collectibles, but they're targeting more like getting a IP into kind of games. So they kind of design games for licensors and get that kind of in there, along with the collectible side.
Yeah. I think they are actually. They might be building games now. I haven't looked that much, but they're also more of a broker than a platform designer or builder, right? So they help to connect brands to platforms like us that are distributing collectibles, or if they're going down the gaming route, that kind of thing. So I would say that no, I don't think they're competition. I think we are operating in different spaces, and if anything, it stands to be beneficial to us as opposed to a negative. Yeah. Look, I'm a bit firm believer that we're so early in this space and in this industry, like I absolutely believe we've cornered the market, and at the moment are coming out pretty clear winners. But that's not to talk down other projects or other, the things that other people are doing. Obviously, everybody's working hard at what they believe is going to be successful. So look, if people want to go and try it out and test it out, and if they come to the same conclusion, well, cool, then you come on back to VeVe, and it sounds like everybody probably will come to the same conclusion. But yeah, I don't want us as a company or as a brand or a community to just get into shouting matches with other companies, because everybody's working hard for these things. So yeah, but in saying that, shout out community.
Hey, quick question, Rhys.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so a couple of videos back, we heard Dan talk about collectibles and having accessories added to them later in the future. And a video he did a year ago where you was interviewing him, which was the first one that I actually saw, he spoke on it briefly. And I kind of wanted to touch and ask on that. These accessories, like the Superman cape or a different accessory, Batman, a Batarang or something like this, will these be a series specific thing, or do y'all have the ability to add them to existing collectibles that we have? Like Algorithm end up with a gold chain or something like that. I mean, just something silly. Is it specific?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be like a release like we drop the collectibles, because there'll be accessories. Like when the accessories start to roll out, it'll be a separate part of the store, right? I think there's somewhere in the app I've seen some images floating around where you can already kind of see that they're coming. But you might go to the VeVe store and it'll have collectibles and accessories as a separate option, and then you can scroll through those. I dare say the market will eventually filter to be exactly the same, so you can look through different accessories for different things, you know. So as an example, you all know we have General Motors as a license, right? So at some point we'll be releasing some of their concept cars and vehicles and things like that. But you might be able to collect the car, and then you might have an option to collect 5 different rims for that car, you know, and you can swap those out, or a different paint job, or things like that, you know. So those all fall under the umbrella of accessories as well, same as like a different sword or a different cape or things like that. So I imagine they'll list as accessories. Now there's undoubtedly going to be some that are more sought after than others. So maybe they get released as a thing, or maybe you buy the collectible and it comes with that accessory, and then it's up to you if you want to sell it on in the market and stimulate that economy there. So does that give you a bit more insight into that front?
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. Appreciate that.
No worries, man.
Just to chime in on that, I was having a look at Immutable X's GitHub, and one of the advantages that they promote is they make it possible to have things like child NFT, so essentially an NFT tied to another one, in this case an accessory. So they've kind of streamlined that process as well. So I guess from the development perspective, it should be easier for the VeVe devs to kind of develop and maintain that aspect as well.
Absolutely. And look, like we've said, Immutable is purpose built for NFTs. So I guess that's one of their main features on that. Which, yeah, I think other people, if you know more about NFTs, would know them as composables. I think it was ERC 1155 was the standard, whereas like, you know, the collectibles would be a ERC 721. But that would be, yeah, you add the sword or the cape, and then it's, as you just said, Kay, it's owned by that collectible, and then you can sell the whole thing on, or maybe you can break it down again and sell the individual parts, or swap them out between your collectibles, things like that. So this whole thing, like, we're so early in VeVe, but we're so early in the development of this technology and the metaverse and all of the implications and integrations that it stands to become. So it's, you know, we're all on this journey for quite a while, I would think.
Rhys, the most interesting part for me, this is Chad from NFT Pirates. So, and I've been a physical collector for a long time, is just seeing how much of an easy sell it is for non-collectors, and much of an easier sell for the actual collectors as well, right? So I've been, you know, telling people about crypto, I've been telling people about other NFT platforms, and with VeVe, it seems within, you know, 10 minutes people get it and they're logged in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have a crypto conversation with people sometimes and their eyes just glaze over. But if you can just show them a collectible, you know, and they don't need wallets, or they don't need to understand blockchain, they don't need to do any of that auxiliary stuff that we've all learnt and kind of take as, you know, as our dues these days, it just brings people into the ecosystem so much quicker than trying to onboard them to, say, a nifty gateway or something like that, you know. And that's been, we knew it from the start, right? We've been building this for 3.5 years now, and the ideas have been in the works for longer, but that was the number one. If we were going to access mainstream brands and licenses and try to bring them into the digital collectibles ecosystem, it had to be as easy to use and familiar as possible. And I think that's a huge advantage that we already have, and it's a big part of the reason we've seen the success that we have. As you just said, you know, within a few minutes, we can bring people into this ecosystem and they understand it. You know, we don't have to go through a huge learning curve there.
Exactly. And like, just for this is actually a pretty funny point. My mom has been watching our YouTube channel, and so she gave me a call, and now she's got a few Nightwings, and I think she's the only mom in the world with a Rizzo.
Nice. Shut up, mom. That's so good.
Yeah, what
That's a boss
a
mom right there.
yeah, what an OG mom.
Yeah, I told her, I said, just hold on to that for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Does your mum collect anything else, or is that's just a you?
Yeah, so it started as a huge family of collecting. So everything from every Pokemon card from the first base set to Yu-Gi-Oh, to teapots to snow globes. I mean, we're just hoarders here in this house. So I grew up with a very obsessive personality.
Yeah, right. That's incredible. Yeah. Fun fact, I still have the whole base set of Pokemon cards at home. They're not in mint condition by any means, but there's a really nice bit of nostalgia there whenever I see them.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm a little jealous. My mom took my whole collection. I had a huge binder full of them, and even the cards you could collect at you would go see the movie, and they'd give you this like special edition giant card. And anyways, my mom gave them away to my cousin, and I think he lost them, so I'm a little sad for that.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Yeah, mine are still in a binder as well. One of those old card, you stick them in the plastic sleeve, and it's probably split all over the place. But yeah, gave them to my younger siblings as I don't know, maybe when I was a teenager or something, and they played with them way more than I would have. And they're a little dog-eared and a little scratched up, but I've still got them sitting there. So.
Yeah, and adding on to that, and let me just start, Rhys, by saying, dude, thank you so much for everything that you guys have been doing. Absolutely love the app. I'm actually 25 years old, and I actually just got an Ice King NFT from my brother for my birthday.
Nice. Yeah.
So shout out to you, Frank, if you're listening. But I got kind of a fun one for you. In your opinion, what do you think, would you say is like the most underrated, slept on collectible in the market right now, and why is it the Todd Batman?
And why is it the Todd Batman?
Good for you.
Just trying to pump my bags a little bit. Just trying to pump my
That's
bags.
fair, man. That's fair. Yeah. I actually do think the Todd Batman is an underrated collectible. It's obviously the first appearance Batman, but the first ever collectible to hit VeVe, which, owing to the fact we all kind of see where this is going, and if we're going to keep penetrating this global audience, I kind of envision a day in, maybe 5 years or 10 years where the same sort of fandom books are being written about VeVe, like they'll have all the season 1 collectibles in there, or they'll have all the first appearance collectibles, all the ultra rares, all of that kind of thing, the same way you see that stuff with Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, right? So yeah, I really do think that very first Todd Batman not only holds value as a collectible, but is a little piece of nostalgia that people will look back on. I know that it's same thing as we just had that discussion about having those Pokemon cards. That's the first collectible I ever got on VeVe, and I think that will stand to have some value too. As to other ones in the market, I'm just going through the market at the moment. Look, I know a lot of people love the Adventure Time stuff, and it's just that little bit harder to get because it was only available in the China store. So I think the people that were around and got them earlier are holding on to them. Ritmo, now that it's animated, there's never many Ritmos going. But it's going to be interesting to see which other ones get upgrades as we move forward too, right? Because that one was unexpected. I don't think anyone will be aware of the next ones either. So I think that story is yet to be written, to be honest.
I remember the good old days when I would literally I would sit up at night on the app and watch the collectibles, the count go down further and further. And I think I remember it was maybe on Twitter, and I was even shouting to my wife, I'm like, wow, the Todds are going down, like the numbers going down. And then they were sold out. And it was just like this, I think that's when kind of the excitement started happening for me. I think at that point I had like a Becky Cloonan at that point, and a few like Robin and a few others, but that those were exciting times. And I a lot of new people might be new to that, but those were fun times to watch the early people kind of get down on the collectibles. And so yeah.
Yeah, agreed. There was, probably 2 weeks there, 3 weeks there, where the first thing sold out, and as more people were coming in, and then so that got shared around a bit. Oh my God, this whatever it was, Becky or something, and then everybody moved to the next one, and that started selling out, and then more users came in. It was getting that viral share quality going, and then within 2 weeks, everything sold out. You just saw the attention shift in the community to like, the Mooka's about to sell out, or this thing's about to sell out, and yeah, watching that, especially after the first 2 months or 2.5 months where you could just go in and buy what you wanted, and most of us probably regret not buying a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to that now.
I look back now and I'm like, why did I only buy one of those? It seems so obvious, but it was new, and we've said repeatedly, Dan said, like, we kind of thought 2 or 3 months in, maybe 10,000 users, maybe by now we'd have 50,000 users, that kind of thing, which with those early collectibles, the edition numbers were so high that we just thought they would last us until now. So to see that shift happen so rapidly was, as you said, just incredible to watch, and you saw the excitement start to build. And obviously, that was driven by speculation there too, people hoping to just flip these things straight away, which was happening for a while. But I think now that the whole NFT industry has settled again, we can just start to really build in again, instead of just trying to keep our heads above water when things are going that crazy. So,
Rhys, something that's popped up quite a bit, obviously with the price drop of OMI is it was a very, very detailed Twitter feed a couple of days ago from a guy, I forget his name. It was like a 50 tweet analysis of the token, and he says he's a big lover of VeVe, but he sold all his OMI tokens. We get it on our Facebook group a lot, saying, people believe that there shouldn't be an OMI token at all. They should just focus on VeVe as the app. Are you able to just give, I guess, a layman's terms of why the OMI token exists? Your focus on that versus VeVe.
Yep. Yeah. So the token exists, that when we first started raising money, that was the route we chose to take. Now all of those tokens were sold essentially as future credits to be able to reclaim and purchase your collectibles on the platform. But just in general, as a fundraising mechanism that crypto provides through whether it's an ICO or just a general token sale or whatever, is revolutionary in itself, right? It lets the little guy, it lets all of us choose where to put our money and to invest in something we believe in, as opposed to just trying to raise capital from VC and profit-driven companies. So, we're always building this platform for users and for collectors, and that was one way for us to access that marketplace without unfairly cutting everybody out. So that's where the OMI token started, and that was the point, and that's why it got built into the ecosystem and remains so today, to reward those users. Now, we are a tech company, and obviously VeVe is the platform and the product, and that has been built specifically for the mainstream. But that doesn't mean we wanted to build it in a way that disadvantaged or cut out the people who showed their faith in us in the first place, and believed in our vision and the idea. Now, of course, along that journey, people are always going to drop off because they lose their belief or they don't have the conviction to follow that through, and that's fine. If that's the way that people want to go about it, cool. But as I've said a few times, for people who truly understand the potentiality of VeVe, and we all agree and believe that that's where this is going, it just seems a no-brainer to hold the token. I mean, to me anyway, right? Like it's as this tech builds out, as the adoption continues, as we leverage the 100+ brands and fan bases that we have, we are literally talking about millions and millions of people coming into the app, which will always be burning that token and reducing the supply over time. Now, it's not, I think most people in crypto lose interest if they don't go a million X in 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
What most of the FUD and carry on is, this has always been a slow burn. We saw some crazy growth as people recognized the platform, obviously the first few months of this year, But yeah, the system's designed to slowly deflate the token supply over time, predicated on the sale of the NFTs, right? As more people come in, sales increase, market activity increases, token burn increases. So yeah, that's the integration. That was the reasoning behind having a token in the first place. It's just another way for us to open access to people and potentially benefit their financial future. But like with any investment, you have to understand what it is you've invested in. You have to have the conviction that it's going to get there. And I, for one, have that conviction wholeheartedly. So
for sure, and I guess my response to that, sorry, Kay, 1 second, is just
oh yeah, sure.
I'm invested in traditional shares, right? Traditional stocks, which I've actually sold quite a bit of recently, and like we don't have much of a say in those businesses, right? Whether it's BHP here or whatever stock you might have. Whereas with VeVe, we're chatting to you, we're chatting to Dan, we're in there, we're using it. The stickiness, as Trev said, is insane, right? I joked about it the other day. We need VeVe Anonymous group because we're all addicts to it. Cavel's YouTube yesterday about it won't just be, in my opinion, us buying NFTs, which will cause the burn of the tokens. It will be, you'll have gamification. You'll be doing things in the VeVeverse, which will also, potentially burn. So it's not just going to be NFTs. So yeah, I'm invested strongly for those reasons.
Correct. And as we stimulate the marketplace, at the moment there's that 2.5% that's getting burnt, right? I think that economy becomes exponentially larger than purchasing from the store. So even though it's a smaller percentage being burnt, like if you have 10 million people in that app and they're all actively trading collectibles between themselves to complete their sets, to earn master collector points, to all these other incentivization things to stimulate that economy, that the burn rate from that is just going through the roof,
Exactly. Yeah. And how liquid it is, right? It's just so easy to do it. You just jump on there and you can buy and sell within literally seconds. Whereas now you try and get on eBay or something, you've got to send something. Yeah. It just seems old school, right? So,
and you've got to find a collector that is interested enough to buy the thing you were selling, whereas VeVe brings it all in-house. You've got a marketplace there. You can literally filter and search through these things and sell something to someone across the world in fractions of a second. That in itself is a technology that will be exponentially adopted, and just a paradigm. That's a new paradigm in collecting as opposed to the physical world of collecting. And then, as you said, we build in more and more utilities for the token, right? I mean, there's going to be staking opportunities to increase your master collector ranking. The VeVeverse will use the token. Like everything we build out from this point will use that in some way. So yeah, it's absolutely not just going to be the sale of NFTs in the store. There's already other mechanisms there that reduce the supply over time, and we'll continue to build those in too. Obviously, because we're token holders as well, we're creating value for everybody in doing that. It's to everyone's benefit to do that. And then it maintains the stickiness, as you said, because it's just another way for people to be involved with what we're doing and with the product and the company. So
right. Yeah. And I think that just from being in crypto so long, I think a lot of people are new to and have a kind of a skewed they kind of have a skewed outlook of crypto just because Dogecoin and of course Shiba and everything like that, where yes, there's gains, but if you backtrack a little bit, tokens like Bitcoin or ADA, even Ethereum. I remember looking at Ethereum at like $6 or $10 and thinking that was expensive, but that's all hindsight, right? And those are solid projects that now look, they look amazing now, but it took years to build up to that. And I think that a lot of people that are new to crypto kind of have need to maybe take a step back and kind of realize, like, for this to build up, you obviously, like you were saying, with all the, all like the master collectors, staking and things like that, like that's going to build up. And I think people need to, take a step back and realize, and smell the coffee on that a little bit. So that's my little soapbox.
Yeah, there's a lot of instant gratification going on, and people just need to kind of slow down, back up, let the app do its thing, let the market do its thing, you know.
Correct. And I think it's pretty crucial to remember that a lot of people are new to crypto, right? Anyone who's joined crypto in the last 6 months has just seen the number go up, right, until this week. And they really get complacent and they think that that's what it is. It's really easy to make money because you just throw $100 at some dog shit coin and it's going to go through the roof because everybody else says it is, you know. And those same investors, and I say investors very loosely, are going to learn the hard way that if there's nothing backing that token except for hype, that token is going to nothing, you know. Whereas we are, and I say this to people all the time, literally one of the only projects in crypto that has a user base and a real product. You know, everyone froths on Cardano, and I'm a fan of the chain. There's nothing built on it. There are no users on Cardano, and it has a $60 billion valuation right now. You know, so yeah, I just think a bit of perspective is important. I think a lot of people are going to get burnt buying all these hype coins. I know, right? I saw it happen in 2017. I've been through this. I sat through crypto winter for 2.5 years, learning about the space and understanding what actually gives these things long-term value, right? And as you just said, Ethereum at $6 seemed expensive, and it probably was then. Ethereum now, I think, is vastly undervalued based on what they have coming, right? It's one of the only chains that is actually generating fees. And although those gas fees are high, they're high because things are being built on it. You know, it's actually being used, right? And it's validating that use case of the technology. So yeah, I think a lot of people they don't know enough about the space, and then they make assumptions based on a number going up instead of fundamentals, you know, and fundamentals will win out every single time in this industry.
I feel like it's time for you to show your bags to the community here and to let us know what crypto projects you're invested in or which ones you find interesting.
Obviously, OMI. That's number one. Ethereum, I am a big holder of these days. Well, I guess big is a matter of perspective, but fundamentally, I think that's already won the race as the go-to chain. Visa's settling on it. Governments are building on it for central bank digital currencies. All the best developers are on there. You know, like I really think that's won the race as the base layer platform. And with scaling and layer twos, I think they're going to take it out. So I think from a chain perspective, that's the winner. I'll always hold Bitcoin. You know, people lose sight of it because they think it's slow and clunky and all those things, and it is. But Bitcoin is a finished product. You know, compared to most blockchains or products that are in development, Bitcoin could do nothing from this point on, and it will still hold value because it has that cap supply and it has that store of value narrative. So yeah, really, and I give this advice to everybody in crypto from many lessons learned and years of losing money. Bitcoin and Ethereum should make up a big majority of your portfolio. It's okay to have other stuff, and I absolutely think we should be supporting other things. I think Cardano is going to have a place. You know, I absolutely hold some ADA. But really, in 5-10 years' time, like I just don't see a future where there's more than 5, 6, max maybe 10 blockchains that run all the base layer infrastructure for this industry. You know, and then the apps get built on top of them. It's like the Samsung iPhone race. You know, there's the two. There's Android and iOS, right? And then everything gets built on top of those. I think of blockchain the same way for those things. Now, I have a few scaling technology projects. I like OMI Go. I used to hold some Raiden, but you know the state channels thing doesn't seem to be in favor now for scaling. But I like to invest in different sectors for different things. DWeb, like file storage, things like that, Filecoin. I think that's going to be a big narrative play out. We've seen perfect example. I was talking to someone yesterday about the GameStop thing that we all saw happen, and they got deplatformed, right? I think Discord kicked them off. I think Robinhood shut them down, all of those kind of things. So every time something like that happens in the mainstream, the push to decentralization in general becomes stronger, right? So that those things can't get cut out. And if you're following that trend on a macro scale, you can really see that those those decentralized protocols are going to win that race as well. I think the same thing applies to borrowing and lending markets. Anything that opens financial services to the unbanked, because now anyone with a smartphone in their pocket can access financial services. And in the Western world, where we consider smartphones, iPhones and Samsung Galaxies and those things, but I think still to this day, the most sold phone is the Nokia 1000 or something, which is a basic smartphone selling in developing countries. That opens access to financial services. So the ability to borrow and lend based against those holdings are incredible, and the base collaterals in DeFi are Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I really think that people should be looking more strongly at those instead of going for the next moon bag. And yeah, it might take some more patience before that value increases exponentially, but that I think it's a safer play to have value adoption come from fundamentals and from use than from speculation. And I think everyone would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The good insight here.
Yeah, not sure the rest of my bags, but yeah, I think that's the message I want to drive home more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think I call them to my friends, when they're asking me about crypto. I say, don't pay attention to all these hype coins, and put your money into blue chip crypto, like, obviously like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think ADA will have some use cases. Obviously, like you were saying, Ethereum is kind of top dog. I mean, you don't even have to look around too much to find, top projects on Ethereum. And like you're saying, there's a few other projects, but yeah, I had a buddy of mine invest into Shiba, and he didn't know, he's new to crypto, didn't know when to take out. My buddy said, hey, you need to get out, you need to take half those gains out. He didn't listen, and he has no gains. So lesson learned there. So
yeah, hopefully, I personally had to learn that lesson a few times before it actually sunk in. And I dare say that, people either see that happen and get turned off from the industry, or they recognize the opportunity and dive in, and as most of us have probably learned, once you go down that rabbit hole, you're in, you can't unlearn this stuff. And I for one, investing for me started with crypto. I wasn't I don't have a share portfolio or and all of those kind of things. But as you dive into the world of crypto, you actually take on macro finance and economics. You have to understand what is taking place in the world, inflation rates and money printing and quantitative easing and all of these kind of things, because they're all the narrative drivers for a finite asset, and one that is controlled by the people instead of the state, and all of those reasons that I think people really get excited about crypto when they understand it. And look, it's on all of us that already do understand that to bring people into the ecosystem properly, instead of hyping up crap coins just to try and turn a profit. Because everyone likes to think, I would have got in then and I would have sold out there and I would have made this much money. But no, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't know. To overcome that lizard brain and that tells you to sell when things are toppy, instead of having that little bit of greed that goes, it'll go a little bit higher. It'll go a little bit higher, and then it burns. I think it's the responsibility of everybody who understands crypto to educate people as much as possible, instead of just hyping things up.
Hey, Rhys, if I could bring it back to the OMI token for a second. Am I wrong in thinking with the tokenomics that OMI has that it's possible that it's bear market proof later down the line?
I don't think anything is bear market proof. I think we have absolutely designed our tokenomics to perform regardless of market conditions, right? And that is the beauty of having a real world product that fans and collectors want, instead of just speculators. So yeah, absolutely, I think we will perform better than most if we go into a bear market. Whether we go into a 2-year-long crypto winter again, I have no idea. And that will depend on what kind of players are in the game. Are the majority of OMI token holders speculators, or do they understand the tokenomics and believe in the future of that platform? Now, regardless of whether they do or not, you know, when people start losing money or feel like they're losing money or they have real world things to pay for, you're always going to liquidate whatever assets you have to, right? So yeah, I think if everything goes into a big bear market again, we're not proof. You know, we're not going to absolutely avoid that downturn, but through that, you know, we will continue to build VeVe as the product, and as that adoption continues, really benefits token holders. So yeah, I think we have one of the best chances compared to most projects in the space to survive that again and to push through. I mean, look, we've just made it through crypto winter, right? We had a raise. Well, our first raise in 2018 didn't come off. And then we ended up we had to go back to the drawing board, restructure the business, did a private raise, went to IEO, and then we've bootstrapped the crap out of this for the last 4 years to bring it to where it is. So yeah, I have no doubt that we survive, but I can't speak to the token value during that time. That depends on everybody in the space.
Just on that point about the token. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, you can make your point about the token because I was going to switch it up a tiny bit. So go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, cool. So on the point of tokenomics, so just going back to the point, I think Mark raised it about the guy who did like quite an in-depth analysis on, he modeled like the burn rate and everything. And I've kind of been quite outspoken that, you know, although I didn't disagree with the numbers or anything, that you can't really model accurately the tokenomics of, you know, how the OMI token is going to burn, because you've alluded as well in the past that there can be additional burns added on, you know, burn events, and you also alluded that when OMI is swapping over to the new chain, that's an ample opportunity to potentially burn tokens as well. And we don't have all of this information right now at present to make an accurate model. So would you say that you can't actually accurately predict the burn rate right now, and will we see additional burns?
I absolutely can say that. Yeah, you can't accurately model it. I haven't seen this thread, so I don't know what numbers he was using, but you know that burn rate increases as the user base increases as well. So I imagine you would have to make some pretty big assumptions as to how many users, how active they are, all of those things. You also can't integrate the new utilities, what effect staking will have on the token, all of those kind of things, because I mean, you know, a lot of that information just isn't available yet too. I acknowledge that. So yeah, there is that. And yes, we have indeed alluded to extra burn events. You know, when we switch over to Immutable, maybe we just leave some tokens behind in those reserves as well, because, you know, we don't need a 50-year token supply in there. It's actually been an advantage to the way that it was initially designed, that we do have a lot of tokens. So it gives us a lot of opportunity there. As many of you know, there was the 97 billion that got locked away forever. And we were still thankfully and happily in a position to actually just leave those be. Whereas, you know, I think some projects might have forked to reclaim them. So yeah, there's definitely potentiality there. I don't want to go out and give people massive ideas. That will depend on the transition itself, and we'll release more information on that as we go. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards.
I just wanted to add on to Rhys's response to the Gale. I've had this conversation with my family a lot regarding the token, and it's, I guess, you're bulletproof against a bear market, because we are heavy investors in this project. And my background personally has come from being in collectibles since I was a child. My first collectible was when I was, I think, 5 years old, and it was a Star Trek action figure. And my choice was to open it or not. I made a bad choice, but that's besides the point. The point being is that it doesn't matter almost the state of the world. You know, I mean, obviously, like right now, it's kind of a different story, but even then, people will still buy collectibles. And
correct,
a lot of these other tokens, whether people want to admit it or not, are still just ideas. Just like he was mentioning, or Rhys was mentioning about Cardano, there's no product. There's nobody's using it. It's just an idea still. That's being worked on, but there's still nothing there. If you look at VeVe, there's an actual product. There's an actual usage. There's people using this daily, every second throughout the entire day. These are collectibles. If you look at comic books, action figures, baseball cards, baseballs that are signed, things like that, footballs, jerseys, they're always being sold and bought, no matter what. It doesn't matter if we're in a recession or not. Those things still carry value even then, because they can be traded and bartered for and things like that. Collectibles will always have worth and value. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, absolutely not. If all the tokens crash and it's the bear market, that OMI is still going to go to the moon or something. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that it's going to be in a lot better position than a lot of other tokens are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as you just said, the collectibles themselves have their own value, so you can double dip with VeVe, right? You can hold a token, which you obviously see is going to become more scarce over time, which presumably will see it appreciate in value. Obviously not financial advice, yada, yada. But the collectibles themselves, we've already created a new economy for those items and those assets. And fans don't just stop being fans because crypto's in a bear market. They will always want those kind of products. Not to mention, and everybody knows this, I would assume, but the collectibles you're seeing now are one product that we have coming, right? And you've just seen we've announced Ron English, right? That's the first physical digital bridge that we're releasing. I don't think it's the first one from NFTs. I've seen some shoes and things happen, but from a premium artist to release, they're a solid sculpture. That little Grim Reaper smile rabbit. Those things as just a physical item hold a hell of a lot of value for people in the art and collective industry. Ron English is obviously only the first one that we've announced, so there's more coming in that space too, plus a whole range of other products that will see us continue to access new audiences, new fan bases, new collectors. We're a platform, and that just opens us up to so many possibilities.
Sparky, did you? Yeah, I was just about to ask if you had a question. Yep.
Yeah, as a platform, so are you guys only is VeVe only exclusive to VeVe collectibles they drop? So eventually you said you're gonna have the desktop app, and then they are NFTs. We can take them off and send them elsewhere. There is a marketplace for it all. My question is, will you guys ever adapt, allowing other NFTs onto the platform to be able to be sold? And that's a way to burn the tokens as well.
It depends on the thing. So initially, I'll say no. Not really. We will, with the Artist Alley, we open the opportunity for specific artists to come and release on the platform.
Okay.
But it will still be curated. It's not going to become like a Rareable or a Nifty Gateway or something like that, where user-generated content can be sold through the market. Because our whole point of difference is that it is premium brands, premium curation, premium artists, those kind of things. Now, if you are an incredible designer and make some kick-ass work that is worthy of the platform, then yeah, there will be opportunity there to do some releases and things like that. But it's not in the plans anytime soon to open that up to just user-generated content. Personally, I think it's just too chaotic. It's an amazing way for people to create new audiences and reach new fan bases, but there's a lot of crap out there too. And I can just take a photo of my foot and create an NFT out of it. You really don't want that.
Some people might want that.
Some people might.
You haven't seen my feet. We'll see. But you know what I mean?
Do we need to bring up Dadbot on the toilet again?
You don't want that listed next to Dadbot Batman or Ron English, Grim Reaper, or things like that. So yeah, there will always be a measure of curation, and I would say for the next few years that will be a very a very hands-on thing for us, to really bring on those premium brands and things like that. Plus, we've got so much content, with more than 100 brands and artists, more signing on all the time. however many series releases from each brand or each license, all of that kind of thing. Like there's so much content to come without opening it up to sort of the randomized user generated stuff that, yeah, I just don't think that it's necessary as a platform. And it's one of our key points of difference, right? We're accessing established brands and established fan bases, and that's what's creating this economy for everybody. So
Yeah, I actually prefer it that way too, because when I see these other platforms, and I just see all the stuff on there, it just doesn't interest me. I don't really get the wow factor.
That, but VeVe just does a good job of like categorizing and just like it's just so accessible, I guess.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what Rhys was saying. It's built by collectors for collectors, and I think that's massively important. For an NFT platform. It's like these other platforms. They're great. They have artists on there, but they also have just too much junk. And Gary Vee has even said it himself. It's just kind of like a lot of these projects aren't going to be around, and or at least artists and things like that. But it's going to come down to, quote unquote, big. I think he even said he was talking about Top Shots, and he was saying it's going to come down to the players. And then he mentioned, this player's he's not a Batman or he's not a Superman. Nobody knows this guy, but in 1 year that dunk is not going to be worth what it was this year during the bull market. So.
Yeah, but they like messed up with the whole marketing of everything and that and how much they did with releases and stuff.
Yeah, I'm familiar a little bit with them, but I've kind of noticed the little things here and there, but not to directly compare with Top Shots at all.
Yeah, and then Run has their own thing too.
Yeah, and look, I think some of those marketplaces will survive. People need places to go and trade these assets and things. And look, maybe some NFTs take off on other chains at some point. But yeah, whether the business that is attached to them or whatever, or if it just becomes the marketplace, it's yet to be seen. Right? We're still so early in all of this, but yeah, as I said, it's just one of our key advantages that we're producing content that people already know and love. We don't have to recreate a new brand and things like that. Like in the NFT space, brands that have actually kind of like maybe Axie Infinity, they seem to have a pretty good following and user base and players on the game. But can you guys name other NFT projects that are establishing their own brand as a product?
Michael Keane's probably the man there to tell you on that. He's the NFT guru.
You're asking to other. I wasn't thinking about that. I was actually trying to plan my own question while you were saying that. So to be honest with you, I didn't hear exactly what you said. If you want to ask the question again, I could probably have an answer for you.
Yeah. Just talking about NFT projects or NFT-based projects at the moment that have successfully established themselves as a brand. So I gave Axie Infinity as an example, right? Most people, I think, in the space know about Axies. It's got a bit of hype. It's still only within crypto, to my knowledge. God's Unchained might be another example as a game that stands to penetrate a bit further, as its own entity. But yeah, these marketplaces, yeah, go for it.
Oh, well, there's definitely a few. You mentioned that, Our Planet's a very popular one where, this stuff's really expensive. People are making a lot of money. VeFriends, somebody mentioned Gary Vee. I was looking back at, where they're at. They're getting close to being sold out. The floor is really high. Like, that's a very successful. That thing's going to turn into, he's going to do all kinds of, toys and clothing and probably.
But see, that's leveraging his brand, right? He is already established with it.
Sure.
Yeah. Whereas, I think the bridge for new NFT companies to go out and establish themselves as a brand is quite a difficult thing to achieve. Now, that's the same in any industry, right? If you're a new clothing label or anything, to actually get that market penetration is quite a feat, and obviously there's a lot of brands that achieve it.
You guys have done. Yeah, I'm not trying to put anything you guys have done, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess that's the point I'm making. You know, we are able to leverage these existing fan bases and brands to establish ourselves, as opposed to starting from a blank slate and trying to build that audience and educate them on how.
I got you. I understand the question a little more now. I understand the question for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna ask two questions if you don't mind. First, thanks so much for taking all this time with us. This is really a real pleasure.
No worries.
So circling back to moving to Immutable, do you think that is possibly going to expedite us getting streaming data, like sales data from the marketplace, maybe onto a website like Mark's VeVe Wiki, something like that? And my second question is, do you or even the company like VeVe or ECOMI own any of the digital real estate? Do you guys consider buying Sandbox that dropped tomorrow morning? Is that something? Are you guys in on that? You know, I just want to see if there's any kind of thought process there, or anything like that with the company. So those are my two questions. I know they're way different.
No, that's fine. I think Dan mentioned this in the clubhouse last week. That absolutely, you know, once this, obviously then we were trying to not mention what chain we were moving to and all those kind of things. But once the migration happens, all of that data becomes a lot more transparent and easier to track, so that we can set up these, you know, the APIs or the proper wiki sites and track those values. So I do think that expedites that process. I don't know how long the migration will take. I imagine probably the next couple of months before we fully transition. But that is definitely on the cards. I personally, I haven't bought any land yet. I was around in the early days of Decentraland and considered it then, but it wasn't really a proven value proposition for me at that point. Obviously now, you know, you've got Binance and Kraken and all these big, like RFox, all those kind of big things building in Decentraland, because I think everybody sees the potentiality of the metaverse. So look, I think that there's opportunity there. Sandbox, same deal. I followed their journey a bit at the start. I have to admit I haven't really tuned in that much lately. But I'm more likely to buy land in the VeVe-verse than anywhere else. Not just because obviously this is where my attention and support is, but for the same reason that I'm investing time and energy into the app and the whole ecosystem. You know, I really do think that we are going to continue to carve out our own space. And if we're bringing in, you know, millions of users and an established fan base, and then walking them through that part of the ecosystem, well, I think as far as digital land goes, that's where it stands to have some pretty incredible value. Plus, like, I get to build my own little fun land or something at some point. Like, why not? You know.
So you guys are going to be selling digital land? Is that something?
I won't confirm it just in case. But
okay.
But that's definitely. I think we spoke about it last week anyway. You know, that's definitely where the
You may have.
that kind of that's the idea behind the VeVe-verse. You know, the first stages of it might not be that, but absolutely. You know, as the idea of the metaverse continues and we build our own, you know, metaverse style world, that comes with it too. And that goes back to the point earlier about the OMI tokens and the modeling, right? So same thing, if you want to buy land, you would be using or burning OMI tokens to do that. You know, if you want to participate in things in the VeVe-verse that cost gems, well, then there's more OMI being used in the background. Things like that too. So as the ecosystem develops, we continue to build in more utility for the token, and it will be for things like that too. So
regarding the purchasing of land, is that all going to be in virtual reality, or is that going to be like layered over the actual world? Like, I'm in Chicago, so will I have like land in Chicago?
A few things have been discussed. So one where it's just a completely separate digital world, sort of like your sandbox and things. But there's definitely discussions of being able to overlay the VeVe-verse, or at least some parts of it, into augmented reality, or into the real world as well. I don't actually know how that will look or how it will develop. But it would be pretty awesome if you're looking at your house, but your house actually looks like, your spot in the VeVe-verse or something like that, and you can augment things that way. I think that'd be a pretty cool, a really cool bridge between physical and digital as well. So who knows where that technology goes in a few years.
I have a quick question from the audience. Could you please explain the process of the Rabbbit Grim purchase with the physical collectible and everything? Like, how will that be shipped and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I will actually. I probably should have been doing it now, but I will write an article about this when I get the time and the details. I think the drop itself will take place as they ordinarily do. There'll be a timed release, and we'll just go gung ho and hope that we get one. But then obviously we have your contact details, we have your email address, the things that are linked to your account, things like that. So there's ways for us to reach out to you, I would imagine, to then organize shipping of the physical sculpture. I don't know whether it comes from the place where it was manufactured or anything like that, or how that sort of works. So I'll have to get some more details on that closer to the release of it. But yeah, I'll add it to my article if I get it in the next 48 hours.
And will those be 100 editions available with 40 reserved, or will it be like 60 available with 40 reserved?
No, I think the whole release will be available, to my knowledge, because it's not like the licensor. There's no licensor holding onto them. This is an artist release on the platform. I'll confirm those details anyway, and it might even be like a gold version and a silver version. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me, but I will find out.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that, even though I may not get one, but I'm super excited about the kind of the cross between physical and digital. I love that. Also, I have a question from the audience. They're asking, will we see nifty gateway style auctions in the future for super low mints?
How do they run their auctions?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either.
Okay, I don't know that.
They
The
just have
Nifty
a
Gateway, they do it a bunch of different ways. Some of them are actually drawings where it'll say there's 100 of them and they cost, whatever the number is, $200, $500. Sometimes it's $5, and everybody puts in, and you don't have to pay it unless you win, but they do the drawing. And if you win, they take the money and you get the collectible. They also have silent auctions. They have a bunch of different ways. They have open editions where it might last for 5 minutes and however many people buy it.
Right.
But the drawing is probably what the question that the audience was asking about. And that's a pretty fun way to do it. That's pretty cool.
They also have open editions where a particular model will actually be printed an unlimited amount of times, but only within a certain time period. So it could be 5 minutes, could be 15 minutes, could be 24 hours. And then once that time is run out, then they won't make that one anymore. They also do just standard auctions. Let's say there's a 5 of 5 piece, and the top 5 bidders will all walk away with that piece, and nobody else will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to find out, to be honest with you. To my knowledge, at the moment, we'll continue to do drops as they are, but same as everything in the ecosystem. If it becomes a better way to do things, or if we can change things up, or a necessity more than anything, then absolutely we'll look at other options.
And just on that, Ron English actually had an NFT drop back in March on Nifty Gateway, and the stats are amazing. The 1 of 1 sold for 26,000. The $100 NFT had 15,000 entries into it. So that just shows the popularity of Ron English.
Oh yeah, Ron English, I'll go into more depth on this when I write about it, but he is huge. He is like the godfather of street art in the US, and he's obviously his popper culture line is coming to VeVe first, but just having Ron on the platform as well validates us as a platform and a place for this physical digital bridge to happen, and obviously he is very connected in the space. But Ron and Dave, you have actually been friends for decades. David, you being an avid collector of his work, which I'm assuming is how they kind of came together. But yeah, with people like that are helping us to shape the offerings that we make as well, and bridge that kind of. It helps us to expand our knowledge into other regions, right? Like David, he collects everything, so he kind of has that. But it's really great for us to have people like Ron on board that can help us to shape these experiences for users as well and go about them the best way. So I'm excited to see what else he eventually launches on the platform too, and that kind of thing. So
there's been a couple of guys putting a bit of time into looking to see who David has followed on Instagram and who he's friends with, and there's a few major artists that there's been photos with and he follows and has interactions with. So there's a bit of speculation around who's coming in terms of Cause, maybe even Beeble.
Yeah, I mean, Cause is the artist whose name Brian. Is it Brian something? Someone might correct me on that. He was actually found and incubated by Lev, the owner of Toy Tokyo. So I don't know if you've seen that Toy Tokyo article there, but Lev being in the designer toy world and art world and things like that. So like, when you really dig through the pieces and realize that they're the kind of people that we have helping us and working with us, Lev from Toy Tokyo, obviously all of their industry connections, artists like Ron, stuff like that. Like I think every week people can see how far and wide this vision truly goes, and what it stands to encompass. So there's a lot of interesting pieces that'll come together over the next few years as more consumers become used to the digital side of collecting and digital art as well. I will say to that, for sure. I think it's on David Yu's Instagram, but there's a video, a bit of a walkthrough of one of his actual showroom. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah, he put a post a while back. It's amazing, his collection.
Yeah, it looks like a episode off of like MTV Cribs or something.
Yeah, for sure.
And look, I'm not. Yeah, go.
Even the dinosaur teaser he gave, you could see like Louis Vuitton poster on the background, so people are speculating that that's coming. And
yeah, well, I think if you go through that, you can see some Ron English work in the background of that video. I think it's that one.
Very cool.
Yeah, not to throw out some speculation, but David is a big fan of quite a lot of things, and I have no doubt that as a fan, he's going to try and get the things he loves on the platform. So
I would love to see that as well. I saw a few things that I really love, that I'm a fan of as well. And I'm not gonna name drop to avoid speculation, but I would love to see some of what David collects in the app as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's his passion business, right? And there are things that he's passionate about and obviously knows a lot about. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll just have to see what comes.
I'm interested, Rhys, to see, with the physical virtual combo in terms of the resale price for the NFTs, because and we're seeing it with these other ones where they've done combos, is when you want to resell your ultra rare gold bunny, are you reselling just the NFT? Will people say, hey, I'll post you out the model as well? Obviously that there's a risk in that. So not just for VeVe, I'm just thinking in general with all these NFTs that give physical items with them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see what happens there too. I guess once you're the owner of it, it's up to you, right? If you want to sell that sculpture separately, if you want to sell the digital version separately, I think we'll probably see two separate economies pop up from this one. But also, I think people trying to get these things, obviously there's going to be speculators, but if I get my hands on one of those sculptures, like I'm not going to let that thing go.
No way.
Heck no, man. Heck no.
Yeah, that's an item, and yeah, I think that most people will have that point of view. You might eventually sell the digital one, but the digital version, other than being its own amazing AR collectible like we've already got with Batman and things, is a little bragging rights piece as well, right? Like I got that physical one, or presumably anyway. So yeah, I don't know if I would let go of either of them. I'm sure they'll both fetch a price, but same thing, right? Now we're going to see, as we just mentioned, like the process to sell a physical collectible is much more involved than selling the digital one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it changes hands, how quickly it changes hands, what the demand is for it, all of that kind of thing too.
Yeah, I think you guys will have to make sure you put a nice obvious disclaimer that there's no responsibility for VeVe if the physical doesn't get sent and stuff like that, because you will have people scamming and all the rest of that.
Oh, undoubtedly. People always try to get free stuff out of
Yeah.
you. it's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, I think that any physical sales will be off app anyway, so they're not part of our responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, we manage the digital side. But yeah, might take one or two more guys, and then I wouldn't mind getting some breakfast into me, to be honest.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on and sharing so much your knowledge with us, and we appreciate you for being here.
So Rhys, I
Not
did
at all.
a crash
Yes, we
course
appreciate
on
you so much.
Immutable X last night, and I was wondering. I noticed that they allow people to mint on their platform. So will all VeVe drops be minted on the VeVe app, or will you guys be minting on Immutable X in the future?
So yeah, the NFTs themselves are minted on Immutable. That's how they're created. They'll have their own minting contracts or whatever, but they'll be available in the VeVe app, right? Or there's some sort of back end integration there through our tech stack to mint them on the chain, same as it is at the moment. So yeah, but Immutable, it's important to remember if you think of Immutable like the iPhone, and we're an app on Immutable, right? So other platforms and other tech stacks can build on top of it too. If there's say like a Nifty style marketplace that springs up on Immutable specifically, you'll be able to mint your own things as a content creator or whatever. So Immutable provides the chain, and all that sort of base layer infrastructure, and then the companies like us build on top of it. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Is it a pure coincidence, Rhys, that Immutable is headquartered in Sydney, right where you are?
It's quite handy. That a bit of backstory there. Alex Saunders, if you guys, I don't know if you follow NFTs at all, probably the best voice in crypto, to be honest. Doesn't put out as much content these days because he has a members platform, but I got talking to him when we did an interview. We actually did, I think our very first ECOMI interview was with Alex for the Secure Wallet 3 or 4 years ago. And since then, I have been in his community. I've just kind of joined, being Australian. He puts out a lot of content that's, Australian specific, our housing market and economy and sort of those updates and all of that. But I've always just found him to be a very good, unbiased voice when it comes to the industry. So when I hit him up, a few months ago and said, hey, like we're kind of finally getting VeVe off the ground. Like, do you want to do another interview? We got chatting and chatting about the future of it and all that. And I had already heard an interview with him and Immutable, and another one with Immutable and the Bankless guys. I don't know if you guys listen to the Bankless podcast. So I kind of had a good understanding there. I did know that they were Australian, or Robbie, the founder and CEO, is, and Alex put us together. He kind of gave us the connect there to have a discussion. And at the time, we had already reviewed quite a number of other chains and other platforms that might have been suitable for VeVe. But as soon as we kind of had the discussion with Immutable, it just was the right fit, as a technology partner and as a team, for people that we want to work with, because obviously you have to work quite close with the teams that actually maintain the chain to get these things done. They just provided everything we needed and ticked all the boxes. So yeah, it's a bit of a no-brainer at that point.
Sparky or Pineapple Gang, you got a question? We got a couple of new, maybe last-minute question for Rhys or anybody.
Yeah, somebody asked me a question, and they asked me, will the first 40 editions of the Ron English drop be withheld because there's only 100 editions?
Yeah, we just asked that.
Yeah. Okay. Cover it again. No, I don't think
My
so.
connection broke off. I
No,
apologize.
No, that's fine.
No worries.
Yeah, I'll reconfirm, but no, the first 40 editions are held on normal drops for the licensors, right? Where all the number ones will go into a big VeVe showroom. The other ones are held for licensors. Some will be used for promotions and things down the line, but it's a bit too early to throw them into circulation just yet. But no, I think on a release like this, because it is like an artist release on the platform as opposed to a release that we're using a licensor's IP to create, that all the available editions will be released. Yeah, that's my assumption. I'll confirm it, but I think it's probably pretty safe to say that there's no one or no need to keep 40 of the sculptures for. So
Thanks for repeating.
we got one more there, guys.
I have a quick question as well. Shout out to the Pineapple Gang, shout out to the ECOMI fam and the ECOMI team. Man, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, man.
But what is the criteria for someone to submit different NFTs to the VeVe platform, and how long will people be able to upload their own artwork?
Yeah, so we covered this a bit earlier too, but I'll go through it again. It's not an option.
Thanks.
It's not an option at the moment. We don't accept user-generated content. Everything on VeVe right now and for the foreseeable future is very deliberately curated and from premium and established brands and licensors. Eventually, with the Artist Alley, there will be some opportunity for incredible artists to release some works. You know, if you're an incredible 3D artist or something like that, or there's some crossover, because you know there's some really incredible stuff out there, and we understand that not everybody comes with an established audience, but that's quite a ways into the future. We have a lot of branded and premium content to get through before we get to that point. So yeah, VeVe isn't designed to be a submit your own NFT type platform.
Definitely. Thank you for answering.
No problem.
Well, we appreciate you having being on here, and I don't want to keep you too long, and just want to say thank you so much again, and thank you all the people that joined as well. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. A big shout out to everyone. I'm sure we're all in different time zones and up at different times of the day. So thanks for tuning in and staying involved. I didn't expect that we'd be chatting for this long, but I love this part.
Yeah, so we can kind of maybe expect you to make more appearances here and there?
Yeah. After last week, the intention is to be able to do this every week, time permitting. I was going to open it up this afternoon anyway, but this, I think, has probably covered that. So yeah, absolutely. That's the intention. Now that I've got a lot more hours back in my day, it will be easier to get back into the community and run these things. And obviously, we've got a lot to talk about. there's new announcements and brands and licenses and all the other things coming too. So I think moving forward, it'll be nice to have a few different when questions, you know.
Thanks, Rhys, and good luck, everyone. The drop is in at exactly 12 hours from now. So
yeah, my friends. What's everyone going after? Have you got a strategy? Got something you're interested in?
Supergirl.
I like them all. You know, I think there's a good.
Go for it, Carl.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think there's something for everybody. You know, there's a good mixture. Personally, the Batgirl, is it Batgirl? It's Batgirl, right? Not Batwoman. That one personally looks really good.
Yeah, the colors are really cool. The colors are really, especially compared to like the black and white of Batman Black and White that we're all kind of used to from DC. I really like the colors. I like the Catwoman. I think that's cool too.
Yeah,
but I like
yeah.
I like them all.
Yeah, I think I might go for something like that. But good luck, everybody. I hope it all goes swimmingly. I will be contacting you all for your cheat codes and hacks before the Ron English drop.
AABB.
Yeah, swipe up, left, down, right, throw the phone through the wall twice.
Very nice.
But we'll get there. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Hope you all have a wonderful day and night, and we'll chat soon.
And thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks, Rhys.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thanks.